God doesn't need a time machine to redeem your past. He's already written your comeback story. What's up, warrior? I help Christian dads smash their goals so they can thrive in life. All right, let's jump into that. You need to stop worrying about lost time because God's got your back. I mean, I'm sure many of us have felt like we have wasted years of our life, but you haven't, man. And honestly, there might be some of it that might have been probably from your choosing. Just, we have to pay for our choices we make sometimes, and sometimes that can add a lot of additional crap time. And, here's the truth. God can restore every single moment you think you have lost. You can go all throughout the Bible and scriptures, and there's so many freaking stories. I mean, these stories are a dime a dozen, but if you go on the internet, so many things are filtered. Without getting too deep, like the media just overloads us with all this negative stuff, and it gives us a negative mindset. So this stuff I'm telling you is possible. God wants you to do, be, and live an extraordinary life. Today, I'm sharing a powerful message about divine restoration that will transform your perspective, because you can be one of the world's worst situations. Maybe. And literally your perspective can flip it and you can see the light, so to speak, at the end of the tunnel. So you need to understand God's timeline first versus your timeline. So many Christian dads, they struggle with regret over past decisions and missed opportunities. Bro, I will be honest. There were times when I was a newer dad, because I didn't really have a consistent father figure growing up. There were times, and I'm not proud of it, when I was a dad and I would just yell at my son, who was maybe like 3 at the time. I would tell him to do something, assuming he would do it, but he had no idea what I would be referring to. And that could be as easy as, hey, can you go wash your hands? Use this kind of specific soap instead of this one. And he had no idea what I was talking about. He's 3, and I would have to take a step back, think about it, and then I would even have my wife sometimes tell me, and he's my first kiddo, and now I have about 50 more, so I'm just kidding. I'll pretty much own this town if I had like 50 kids. They'll all grow up and we'll buy portions of it, and we'll just be the kings and queens of this area. It does break my heart a little bit, but I know that it was just part of the learning process as being a new parent. And the world tells us that lost is gone forever, but God's economy works differently. In the Bible, we see countless examples of divine restoration, from Job to Joseph. And it's very interesting, man. If you really want to humble yourself or just transition your mindset, your way of thinking, then you should go back and read those books of the Bible. Job is pretty repetitive, but it just shows what one man can go through. And when you focus on God, everything else will tend to flow, will tend to just fall in line. And yes, it will be difficult at times, but it will not be impossible. And difficulty as well is just all part of all part of the mindset. So the battle between faith and fear. The enemy wants you to believe your past mistakes define your future. Society's pressure to achieve by certain age milestones creates anxiety and doubt. And anxiety and doubt, man, they're demons. Many Christian men struggle with balancing family responsibilities while pursuing their purpose. The spiritual warfare of comparing your journey to others can paralyze your progress. That's a big thing you have to do. Don't compare yourself to others, because that can literally add months or even years, because you're going to start programming your mindset to think that way, and then you need to deprogram yourself to stop thinking that way, and that can take a long time. It took years just for me, because I was in such a low state. After I became a Christian, it was crazy. It was literally like my eyes were opened, and I viewed the world differently. I created a vision plan, and let me tell you, I was at a really bad spot. I was living with a woman who, she was a practicing witch. There would be all these weird, strange events that would happen in the house. I would see shadows in the corner of my eyes. I would literally sometimes feel like I was being squished alive, like there were hands wrapped around me, squeezing me. I would hear things when nobody was there, and I'm not talking about, the wind blowing against the house, or maybe shingles just shifting or whatever. I'm talking about I would hear voices, like audible voices, and most of the time, though, they would be muffled, but the door handles would shake and turn, the doors themselves would vibrate, and it was just really freaking weird. When I went through that, that's what led me to actually becoming a Christian, because I'm like, this crap is very real, and I'm at a really bad spot right now in my life, and it's so crazy how that led to so much fear, doubt, anxiety. I had so much doubt in myself, and I had to transition my way of thinking, and I eventually got away from that toxic environment. And it's so wild how some of us, we tend to reflect, because it took me probably close to a year to understand that God had such a big purpose for me. But I was literally around certain demons that would literally tether themselves to me, that would limit my ability to grow. So I needed to get away, and that's what you might have to do sometimes. But remember, man, your journey is not promised to be easy, but worth it. Because, dude, we need to grow the kingdom, and by doing that, God will literally equip us with what we need to get there. And in most cases, it's literally finances. I believe you were designed to be financially free and then also contribute your finances and your time and your skills to bring a little bit of Jesus into this world. You need to break free. So breaking free, God's power to restore and redeem. In Joel 2:25, he promises that God will restore the years the locusts have eaten. Your setbacks are actually set-ups for God's greatest miracles in your life. Stop boxing God into a human timeline. His restoration power transcends natural limitations. Every trial and delay is building a spiritual muscle for your divine purpose. You need to think of it that way, man. Just like any muscle, put a lot of pressure on it to make it grow. Any part of growth, man, it does hurt at times, but it will be well worth it. And embracing God's perfect timing. Release the weight of lost time and trust in God's restoration process. Your journey as a Christian father isn't about perfection. It's about progression. Start viewing delays and setbacks through the lens of divine preparation. Remember, warrior, you're not behind. You are exactly where God needs you to be. He needs you to be there. So you might be at a job that you pretty much probably hate, but you need to be there for a reason because God has you there. Now, while you're there, that can also be motivation for you to start working on skills that you're really good at and growing closer to Christ, being an example of Christ to these men, to these women that are there. Through that process, if you give that a year, or sometimes even less, then you can eventually step away from that job, because on the back end, you could have been working on something that you really enjoyed doing and making money with it, and then that end up making more. And you can leave, and that'll be great. Then you'll have financial freedom, and then you can start working when you want, being a more present father at home. Because, man, I heard a story just this weekend from a coworker. His dad is in his early 60s, and he's at a job that he hates. He's a big family man, but he's been at that job for maybe a couple decades. And it's one of those jobs, when a lot of companies do this, they'll give you just the right amount of money to keep you there for pretty much long term. They'll have a lot of benefits, and which I know, I'm not hating on the benefits that can keep people, but they'll give you a company card, discounts on flights and other things, and computers. Anyway, they'll promise you all these things, but that's literally to lock you in. And I believe it's to take away your purpose, because they're going to give you their purpose, which is whatever their company is trying to aim for. And you need to focus on the purpose that God put on your heart, because you are a kingdom influencer, and he wants you to focus on doing that. So yeah, there's that little ramble. Now, man, you need to take action, and your restoration journey, it starts now, bro. Not tomorrow, not the next day, but now. That sounds like my mom. So you need to write down 3 areas where you need God's restoration in your life. Start each day with gratitude and declaration of God's promises over your time. And dude, jump into my community that I have. Oh yeah, and shoot me a message, send me an email, drop a comment down below. I am slowly starting to build up a community. It's literally going to be an action-oriented community, and I want to help us grow together so we can start knocking out, smashing, and achieving our goals. All right, bro, I'm going to end it on that note. If you found this helpful at all, just smash, punch, kick that like button, and send this to a buddy who might need to hear it as well. All right, bro, till next time, have a great day, because God made this day for you. Bye.